Chan, leadership architect, change strategist, author, speaker, and pastor, who has devoted over 3 decades to helping others unlock higher levels of success, greater than titles or positions. Dr. Chan's heart is summed up best in his life vision, helping others succeed. And he's going to do that for us today. Through roles as senior pastor, college president, chancellor, and president emeritus, Dr. Chan has worked with leaders in both ministry and business to reshape how they think, how they lead, and how they grow. Whether through his books, speaking engagements, or the Sam Chan Leadership Institute, Dr. Chan has one goal: to equip leaders not just to lead, but to lead with clarity, capacity, and character. Let me say those three again: clarity, capacity, and character. I think especially in our space, if that is something that we can lean into, those three things, we're going to be successful. Dr. Chan, thanks for saying yes to be here today, and welcome to the NIAAA Roundtable.
I'm totally honored to be with honored guests like yourselves, and just here, happy to be here.
Absolutely. I want to start with a quote of yours. And I also want to thank a friend of both of ours, Pastor Mike Lynch, here in the greater Atlanta area. He played a pivotal role in getting us connected today. But there's a quote of yours he says quite often. I think it's absolute gold, and it has kind of reshaped my leadership philosophy when dealing with could be growth, it could be challenging times, it could be difficult times. I like to call them opportunities. But you have said you'll grow only to the threshold of your pain. Let me say that one more time. You'll grow only to the threshold of your pain. How can leaders practically identify what their current pain threshold is, and what steps can they take to intentionally push beyond it without burning out or breaking down? That's a common theme in a lot of industries, but especially ours. A lot of athletic directors are also assistant principals. They're working 2 jobs every single day. And so burnout is a big problem. But maybe speak to that quote of yours: you'll only grow to the threshold of your pain.
Well, thank you so much again for allowing me to serve you. That quote comes from a book, Leadership Pain. That book came out in 2015. So 10 years later, on Amazon, in its genre, is still in the top 30 books. So uh, it's my bestseller, Leadership Pain. So a little background, and then I'll answer those questions that you have asked me. I'm a leadership consultant. I've been doing it for over 30 years. I have clients on every continent except Antarctica. I'm around marketplace and ministry leaders, corporate and different places. And I went on a search of why some do and some don't. Why do some, I want to loosely use the word succeed, but that's really not the word. But why some do and some don't. And I started eliminating. It is not your charisma. It is not your abilities. It is not the finances. It is not your location. It is not your administration. It is none of those things. So what is it? And I concluded that the greatest difference between those who do and those who don't is their ability to handle pain, to handle pain. Uh, and therefore, I created a sentence, and the whole book, Leadership Pain, is about that. It simply is, you'll grow only to the threshold of your pain. But your question centers on how do you discover your pain points, and how can you be helped through that without breaking and burnout. So let me start by saying to you, our pain points usually are subconscious and self-assigned, but it is motivated by exterior circumstances in life. Somebody says something, somebody does something, somebody doesn't say something, someone doesn't do something. And so think back to when we were kids, we had parents, and our parents helped us to overcome those. They identified those space points, and hey, just ignore them, or you can do this. And they pushed us past our pain point. They pushed us past our laziness. They pushed past our procrastination. They pushed us past our own imaginative caps on our life. They pushed us past circumstances and situations that we esteemed were going to hold us back. So we had parents in our life who, they found out where our pain points were, and B, they pushed us past that. Well, then we get a little older. and parental voices go away, and parental oversight goes away, parental diagnosis goes away, parental push goes away, and now we start working with peers who also don't have any of those things happening in their lives. And so what happens is pretty soon we don't have truth tellers in our life. Truth tellers will say, hey, you're being lazy. Hey, just get over it, or get over yourself. So you messed up. Pick yourself up. Go on. Nobody is doing that in our life now. And the older we get, we have fewer and fewer truth tellers. Right now in my life, Don, I know hundreds of thousands of people all over the world, but there are fewer people that I trust now to speak into my life, knowing that they are not setting me up. They are not just blowing smoke, just making me feel better about myself. What I'm talking about is people that you trust to speak, who have permission to speak freely into your life. I have five such people in my life. I have five such designated hitters in my life who can who have permission to speak into my life. They can speak into my finances, and my vision, into my business, into my marriage, into my parenting, into those type places in my life. So uh, I would suggest that the best place to get unstuck is to have two things: pain partners and coaches. Pain partners and coaches. And I'll get to the place about not getting burnt out and those kind of things. Pain partners are people who don't give you advice, but don't let you rest there as well. Who don't just affirm you, saying, or feel sorry for you and say, or just commiserate with you in your misery. But pain partners are empathetic people. But we all know that coaches are the is what life is about. I mean, I don't know of anybody in senior positions who doesn't have a coach themselves. And unfortunately, sometimes coaches don't have coaches. And that is something that you can correct, because coaches are people who give you wings to fly high and roots to go deep. Coaches are people who see the best in you. Coaches are not people who are going to put things in you, but pull things out of you. Uh, Coaches are interested in your well-being and your success, and your trajectory and the fulfillment of your own dreams. And the last thing I want to say about this is, unfortunately, we all are born with dreams, but our dreams die because life happens to us, and now we self eliminate ourselves. But the last part of your question, Don, was how do you do this without burning out, without just going off the deep end? And it all starts with your own internal health. Internal health. How healthy are you relationally? How healthy are you emotionally? How healthy are you financially? Your personal health dictates everything. Uh, for example, where I'm in life, I'll be 73 next month. Where I'm in life, I'm leaning more into my family relationships. Thank God they're all good and wonderful as far as I know. But I've been married for 46 years. So just to make sure that my marriage is not an autopilot, that continues to grow. Uh, how are my friend relationships? How are my peer relationships? And we are really where we go in life is based on relationships. You said earlier that Mike Lynch connected the two of us. It's all about relationships. And I have another friend who connected with Mike Lynch, and somebody else connected me to that. It's the butterfly effect, that we are all a sum total of relationships. And if our relationships become only in a small circle, then our circle is limited then. And so it is very important to make sure we are healthy emotionally, we're healthy relationally, and we're healthy financially, and other enigmatic areas of our life. So sum it all up, we need truth tellers in our life. We need pushers in our life. We need people who will tell us to stop feeling sorry for yourself, get up, go, you can do this. We need people who will be our pain partners. They will also be our collaborative coaches. And then we need to make sure that we are healthy emotionally. If you're not healthy emotionally, there's no doubt it's just a matter of time before pain will surround you and take you down. So those are a few words to the question that you asked.
Yeah, that's really, really good. When you look at that question, it has benefited me a great deal. So when I look in the mirror, right, and it helps me lead better, what can leaders do to help their teams embrace discomfort and as a pathway to collective growth rather than something to fear or avoid? Sometimes it gets hard in athletic departments. Things happen, and they have to go in that room and lead that group. And to your point, I would argue that sometimes it's easier for us to do that than it is for us to look in the mirror and be honest with us, right? But maybe speak to helping teams embrace that discomfort as well.
I think, first of all, this whole concept of pain, we talk about playing through pain. I get that. But the whole concept of pain as a team uh, is not really talked about. Uh, everybody wants to create a rosy picture. Everybody wants to. I can tell you how bad it is. So when I wrote this book in 2015 and went to HarperCollins, which is the world's largest publishing company, and they bought my book and they were good with me, but they did not want to name the book Leadership Pain. They told me they will not publish it as long as I have that title. They wanted something like How to Live Triumphantly, Overcoming Obstacles,
Mm,
something that would kind of minimize what you have to get over. And it delayed the printing of my book by 3 months because I stuck to my guns. I said, I want the word pain in there.
good for
And
you.
that is how bad it is out there. We don't like to talk about pain. But I think if you have a team, it will be important to talk to the team about what pain points are we experiencing, what pain points can we anticipate, what pain points are keeping us back, how do we get over our pain points. And I think to have that kind of open, or what I call hot conversations, honest, open, and transparent conversation, unless you do that, you can really not motivate them. You cannot come up with the answers without first diagnosing what the issues are. And the big issues are the willingness to face the pain and find ways to get over the pain and take ownership of that pain. What have we done to enable our pain the way it is? Why are we ignoring the pain? Why don't we have those hard conversations we need to have? That's a painful thing. So yeah, I would process the team through the pain conversation about pain, and maybe my book can help you as well.
So good, and to your point, that takes the leader being vulnerable as well, right? Getting up there, because when you open it like that and you say, "Listen, let's talk about our pain points." Well, some of those, or a lot of those, are going to be on decisions that you've made as the leader. So you've got to be able to listen for truth in those moments
That's
to
right.
try to
And
to try to advance. Yeah,
as soon as a leader in a process conversation gets defensive, is the end of that conversation.
you got it. Mm, so good. Now, when we talk about what we know and what we don't know, that kind of leads me into my next question. You often teach that leaders must learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay, again, learn, unlearn, and relearn. I think if the pandemic taught us anything, it taught us other ways to do things and better ways to do things. Right? That's a perfect example in my mind. That helped me, navigate all of that. In your experience, which of those three is the hardest for leaders to embrace? And why does that step become such a critical hinge point for growth?
First of all, that quote is not mine. It is borrowed from Alvin Toffler. Alvin Toffler wrote a book in 1970 called Future Shock. Future Shock. I read that book in the 80s, and it impacted me deeply. It's almost a prophetic book, not in a religious term, but in what he said. So in 1984, when he wrote Future Shock, he said this sentence. He said, the leaders of the 21st century will not be those who can't read or write. The leaders of the 21st century will be those who can learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Mm.
And to your question, the hardest one is to unlearn. Unlearn, we have I'm sure you all talk about muscle memory. You just unlearning is very difficult. We are creatures of habit. We are creatures of opinion. We are creatures of letting our history guide our future. So unlearning is the hardest thing. I can tell you, I'd never played golf in my life. I was 28 years of age, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, do you play golf?" I said, "No, I don't." So he took me out on the golf course. Never taught me anything. So I got a baseball grip on on a golf club, and I became a fairly decent hacker. Not a golfer, a hacker. A hacker, you just don't know where the ball is going to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And so later on in life, the Lord allowed me to buy a house on a golf course. I live in a golf course right now. And I started playing golf with some friends and they were all mocking me. So I said, you know something, I'm going to go and take lessons. So by now I'm like in my 50s, I take lessons. Uh, and I was never able to unlearn the bad grip. So I could play with the right grip as long as things going well. But when I needed to hit that shot, guess what I did? I defaulted back to what I used to do. So learning is good. Unlearning is the hardest. Relearning is the second one there. So here's what I have learned about unlearning. Unlearning begins by forgetting what we know, which is not easy to do because what we already know gets in the way of what we need to know. Uh, and I think unlearning begins by curiosity. Unlearning begins by humility. Unlearning begins by saying it worked then, it's not working now. What might be a situation there? And here's the thing that I have decided that we live in a new world that did not exist. So a friend of mine a couple years ago invited me to go play pickleball. Pickleball. Well, I had never played pickleball, so I said, how difficult could this be? Because in my previous life, I played uh, court and net games before. I was raised in India, so played a lot of badminton. I have dabbled with squash. I've dabbled with tennis, with table tennis, also known as ping pong. I was really good in college. I was a hustler. Used to go down to ping pong palace and make money. I mean, you just put 20 bucks on the table and wait for somebody come and play with you. This was in the early 70s. And yeah, I made money playing ping pong. So I had done, so I knew what court, net, paddle, ball situations were. So when I went to, so I knew how to chop the ball, the top spin, I knew all that in my head. So when I stepped on the pickleball court, it didn't work for me. And here's what I want everyone to hear. It was similar, but different.
Mm.
Similar, but different. I think we're living in a pickleball world right now.
That's good.
It is similar, but different. The scoring is kind of similar, but different. The court is kind of similar, but different. The net is kind of similar, but different. The paddle in my hand, the racket in my hand is kind of similar, but different. And I think that is the challenge of our world is we are trying to play tennis in a pickleball world. We're trying to play badminton in a pickleball world. We're trying to play table tennis in a pickleball world. And it is similar, but different. And the other thing I learned was in unlearning, you got to be willing to get worse before you get better. And we're not willing to do that. I was not willing to get worse in my golf to get better. I was not willing to get worse in my pickleball before I got better. And everybody wants to see a result that goes up, higher, higher, higher. But I think the way unlearning works is you unlearn, you take a dip, you get worse, and then the relearning starts taking place. But none of us wants to get worse. Uh, and that is where I think unlearning comes in. Uh, and before I throw the ball back at you, uh, there are when I think about unlearning in my life, I have distilled it to what I call the 4 stages in the journey. And I teach, because I teach on this. I have my my notes in my hand here. So there are 4 levels. Let me just give them to you, talk about each one 30 seconds, and throw the ball back at you.
Sure.
The first level is what I call unconsciously incompetent. Unconsciously incompetent. Here is, I don't know what I don't know. I'm unconsciously incompetent. I don't know what I don't know. The second one is, I'm consciously incompetent. In consciously incompetent, I know that I don't know. The third one is consciously competent. Consciously competent says, I don't know that I know. It's like riding a bicycle. You just don't know. It's just like driving a car. I don't know that I know. But the final one is what we're talking about. It is being unconsciously competent. I don't know that I know. And this is the I don't know part, is the unlearning part. And I think once we delve into that, for example, in a previous timeline, we used to start with the what I need, and then who do I need. So we started with our need, and then who can fill that need. In the world we're living in now, you find the who before the what. You find that person, and then you find a place for them. So we don't fill needs anymore. We assign people to what they are good at, rather than, this is my need, I need this person. Now we have a person, and then they fill that need. So just those kind of things, but there's no way for me to land the plane, so I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, so let me kind of piggyback on that for a little bit. One of the things that I think it goes across industry, right? Is the idea of hiring people and ways to do that correctly. In your experience, how do you determine, because you're going to get everybody's best shot in an interview? You hope you do, right? How do you gauge someone's ability to unlearn, someone's ability to be vulnerable, someone's ability to go through that dip in that process to see if that you want to bring them on board to be a part of your team?
So I wrote about that in one of my books, Who's Holding Your Ladder? I wrote that
It's a good one.
mid-90s, Who's Holding Your Ladder? So let me do reverse engineering on your question.
Sure.
So in one of the quotes in that book that I write is, we hire people for what they know, we fire them for who they are. We hire them for what they know, we fire them for who they are. Most people you have fired, it's not about competency issues, it's usually their unwillingness to unlearn and relearn. So the only way you really find out the who part, not the what part, but the who part, is to hire people on a short-term basis. HR companies are now hiring people. Some of them are hiring them for one day, depending on the job. One day we'll pay you for that day, but we see how you work. Some are hiring them for a month. Some are hiring them for 3 months. We used to call it probation, but now it is, I don't think there's a title given to it. It's like, hey, listen, we like what your resume says, and this conversation is good, but let me see if you want to be with us and we want to be with you. So can we, before we get engaged, can we date? And I think that's an unlearning, relearning. But once we get that into our head, we can figure out a way how to make that happen. Because if you came to me and said, Sam, you qualify for this, we'd like to hire you for this, but we're not going to hire you on any long period of time. We're going to give you 3 months. And it'll be project oriented or whatever for 3 months. If I really want the job, I know that I'm going to work my whatever off to make sure those 3 months are going to be the best months you're going to get out of me. If somebody doesn't agree to that, they may have extenuating circumstances of relocating and so on and so forth. I get that. But if at all possible, and someone's willing to make that happen, that is how the world is working out now.
Good. All right, I'm going to open the floor a little bit. Becky, do we have any direct questions for Dr. Chan before we?
Right now, we don't have any in there. Anyone have any questions for Dr. Chand? We'll give them a second to type.
While we do that, just want to make sure, I want to reiterate our book recommendation for this month is Leadership Pain. Again, I think it is a must-have for every leader. So want to make sure that you are aware of that. Podcast recommendation as well comes from Dr. Chan, Sam Chan Leadership. Is our podcast recommendation as well. There's some really good stuff on there. So be sure to check both of those out. So, Dr. Chan, we've got one. Can you offer strategies for how to coach someone to unlearn? I think is what it said.
Okay. So the unlearning is unfortunately more organic than strategic. How do I make sense of that? Because when you see something in someone's life that they need to unlearn, my conversation would be saying to them, hey, you have great potential, you're going somewhere. What are some of the places you feel are holding you back? And if they can self-identify, they could be low level, but as the conversation goes up, it can go higher. If they can, there's nothing stronger than discovery. And there's nothing stronger than that, than self-discovery. When there's self-discovery, you take action. For example, I'm wearing glasses right now. Self-discovery was, I'm not seeing clearly. So yep. Self-discovery took me to get glasses. So if we can lead people to self-discovery, and self-discovery are probing, powerful questions saying, hey, listen, I see you on the brink of greatness, but then I also see you pulling back. Tell me what's happening. What's inside you that's pulling you back? Mm-hmm. And once they give that gives you the opportunity to talk about the unlearning portion of it.
Well, and I think that leads to the second part of that question, this idea of coaching someone to unlearn and then relearn, right? So correct. if they're open enough to tell you what those pain points are,
that's right.
That's your answer, right?
That's right. That's your answer. But it's organic conversation. It's not, there's no strategy to it, because that will be, then the person becomes resistant because they feel like you have an agenda to take them somewhere. You're saying, no, this is not my agenda. This is about you. You're on the brink of greatness. But then I see you again and again pulling back. Help me understand what's going on there.
And I think too, that feeds into, I heard somebody talk the other day, the idea about everybody watches film. Like we watch a lot of film, like in our world, right? You watch film to correct mistakes. Not enough people watch film to watch what you did correct.
Correct.
Right. So tell your people, when your people do something and it's jam up and it's right on, tell them that, because then they will lean back on that memory. It's not always about what you did wrong. Correct.
Correct. And here's the thing. Look at any corporation. Successes are built on successes. Mm-hmm. So what do you success? I mean, what are you good at? Is that what we say to people? I mean, hey, listen, you're good at first base. So that's why that's what you're good at. So because they were successful in that area, and successes are not built on correcting failures. That's remedial work. Successes are built on successes. And what are we good at? What are we good at? And how can we be better at what we are good at?
Mm-hmm.
Those are questions to be asked.
Kind of along that same line of unlearning, what should a person do to prepare themselves to unlearn something? That makes sense.
I tell you what I do in my life. I told you earlier, I have 5 friends who are truth
Mm-hmm.
tellers in my life.
Yeah.
I ask them.
Mm.
I just, I'm naked with them. I'm transparent with them, and I'll say, "Hey, Don, you know me in a good way, in a bad way, in a different way. Uh, this is what I'm struggling with. I mean, I can't figure out why I can't push through this. I mean, all the opportunities are there, so help me understand what's going on inside of me." And he'll just ask me questions. You will ask me questions, and it's a journey that you take me on of self-discovery. But I think that is where you go to people and ask them for that. I know my best answers lie outside of me with people that I trust.
It's good. Now, before we kind of get into, I know that you had something special for us. I wanted to touch on two more things. Number one, your book, New Thinking, New Future. It's a home
Yeah.
run. Okay. Absolutely love that one. And every Tuesday, every Tuesday, I have my 52 Tuesdays with Sam Chan. This is another absolute gold mine of a resource. It is a quick hitter, and I've probably gone through it a handful of times, but it's I only look at it on Tuesday. I try to follow your template, right? I only look at it then, but definitely helps get my week off to a good start.
Yeah, yesterday's was on how to maximize decline.
Hmm. So again, how can people connect with you, your organization? I know that you mentioned you may have something for us today.
Yeah. So you can reach me at samchan.com. That's my name, samchan.com. But what I want to give to you, well, almost give to you, is my leadership institute. It's called Sam Chan Leadership Institute. It has, if you sign up for that, first of all, the price is unbeatable. I can tell you nobody in the world can beat this price. I'll get to that in just a minute. It's a 12-month program. You'll get everything is digital. Everything will be online. Every month you will get a book, one of my books, 12 books, all the way from culture to conflict. You'll get one of my books. You'll get 3 videos from me teaching that book. At the end of it, you'll get a certificate. So what's the price? Whatever you want to pay. Whatever you want to pay. I wanted to give it away free, but I also know that I want at least $1. We don't ask questions, but whatever you pay, you'll get 12 books, 36 videos, and a certificate at the end. No questions asked. So the website for that is setyourowntuition.com. Setyourowntuition.com. Set your own tuition. And I'd love for you to not just use it yourself, but share with your team. I mean, right now it is in 78 countries. We've got hundreds of thousands of people on it. Some have paid $1,000, some paid $1. We don't ask questions. Whatever you say, you will start in the process. Setyourowntuition.com.
Yeah, Jim Wright, he said, you shouldn't say that to this group. We're extraordinarily cheap.
That's all right. I'm okay. I'm in a place in my life that this is not part of how I live. I would love to give it away, but I want some skin in the game. So this is as close to free as I can get. So yeah,
That's as close as you can get it. Dr. Chan, I can't thank you enough for today. You have helped a ton of people, and your words are going to get in the inboxes of close to 17,000 people real soon. And so we appreciate the time. We appreciate your resources and pouring into us, and for sitting down with us today.
let's do it again.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to move on to our second part of our conversation. If anybody has anything that they want to discuss, Becky, you can let me know if we've got anything. If not, maybe we can bring up a couple things.
There's currently nothing in the chat. So Don, if you want to start in on one of yours and maybe it'll jog some things for some other people here with us today.
Yeah, sure. So as far as topics are concerned, I
You
know
want me on the
that,
call?
oh, you can hang out with us as long as you want to.
Okay.
You don't have to, but we love for your advice if you want to hang out.
Let's hang out.
Oh, that sounds like a winner. Um, Obviously, I think a lot of similar conversations are continuing around the country regarding behavior, sportsmanship, discipline at our events. I know more and more states are proposing legislation making assault or abusive behavior on officials a crime. That could actually be prosecuted. I'm seeing that more and more across the country. Also seeing examples where unsportsmanlike conduct or disrespectful behavior from the stands can result in a penalty for a fine, for a state, for a school, and so obviously, the best way to deal with unsportsmanlike behavior. I know that in my experience, a lot of that is conversations that I had with individuals, especially with parents. I got a lot of leverage out of. Listen, the last thing that I want to do is prevent you from seeing your kid play, right? And when you get that touch point of their kid, and you get the official out of it, you get the coach out of it, you get the other team out of it. Typically, that went a long way in kind of calming those waters and kind of settling that down. Um, I know that another thing, especially with legislation across the country, deals with eligibility and transfers and the movement of kids. I know here in Georgia, we have just instituted really an overhaul of what it looks like when kids transfer schools and making that a little bit more difficult so that you don't have a kid in 4 schools in 4 years. So we don't model the model of the NCAA right now, where you got kids that I guess they're just going to just transfer to every school that exist. And that's just such a detriment to their academic performance. And so many kids, and I know at the collegiate level, they're doing this, that are not leaving with degrees. Because they can't ever get established anywhere, and so I know that that's another thing. And then obviously, I think something that is it's kind of been there for a long time, and this may be sports specific, was the competition with the private club sector, club sports, and maybe that's a sport thing. I don't know, but that idea of focusing on interscholastic athletics and what it is really about, about being with your classmates and being with your friends and leaning into having an experience and having fun. Because let's be honest, the percentage of people that are going to move on to play uh, their sport at the next level is very small, and so that juxtaposition between club sports and school sports, I think, is another topic. So, don't know if anybody's got anything they'd like to add to either of those topics, but by all means, feel free to do so.
Don, can you see the chat there?
Yeah, I got it. As far as students and spectators' behavior in the stands, the 3 N's: no names, no numbers, and nothing negative. That's good advice, Kevin. And if we go through an AD roundtable and Jake Von Sheer does not press unmute, that is going to be a record, ladies and gentlemen.
He did put something in the chat for the
Oh,
record.
did he?
So,
Did he?
yes,
Okay.
earlier,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know I was going to be called out on this. Okay, I got a question for you. And again, I'm not an AD anymore, although I am considering applying for a position here in Florida. Ejections, coach and player, are up in Florida. I don't know how they are across the country, but at what point do we say enough is enough and, you get ejected? We can talk coaches, I guess. Football coach, you're gone for the 5 games. Basketball, you're gone for half the season. Yes, education, and yes, the NFHS course and all that stuff. It's not working. Okay. So what do you guys that are on the and gals that have boots on the ground. What are your thoughts?
I'd like to comment if I could, Don. I'm Tim James with the Hamilton County Schools in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We service between 44, right at 44 middle and high schools, a district athletic director there. And when I took this job 3 years ago, we had a very, very high rate of ejections of both players, fans, and coaches. As a district, we implemented a program known as a Better Way Athletics. Our coaches are required to take sportsmanship training through Better Way Athletics. We've actually reduced, I think the first year that we kept our data, we were looking district-wide at about 127 ejections. We had that down last year to 46 total ejections, which is a significant decrease. And also the other thing, it's the NIAAA up their coaches fine to $500 per incident now, and the district requires our coaches to pay that out of pocket.
It's good stuff. I know I'll piggyback on that. Making them feel it. I can only think of one time where I had a coach that got ejected where I said I will pay the fine because I was literally standing there when it happened and felt like the official had taken things too far. But for the most part, I make them feel it in their pocket. I have suspended a coach before for repeated violations. That idea, okay, well, for the next 3 games, you don't exist. Your assistant's going to take it over, and I'm going to have to remove you because right now you're the common denominator. So I have had to do that before. And had to do that with somebody that I was a good friend with because I got promoted from within in my own building. I was a good friend with him as a coached right alongside him, and ended up having to suspend him. That was a difficult conversation, but it was one that we had to do. All right, anybody else? Here we go. The idea of anybody have coaches that go through that NFHS level 1, 2, and 3 process? Anybody on the call do that? Not a bad idea, John. All right. Anybody else with anything before we wrap it up? John, you want to unmute and just to kind of talk about that real quick since you do it?
Let me see if this works. I know I don't have a camera on here.
Yeah, you're good.
I went through mine. In fact, I went through the original program, the CIC and AIC. Yeah. And when they transitioned over again, I went through all 3 levels. I proposed it here in the district I'm at now. We don't think their coaches are quite ready for that. We're going to gradually put that in. And a big part of it is, at least here in New Mexico, where I'm at, the coaches, they're the ones that they're required to take, have pretty much almost portions of all 3 of these just as a requirement to coach in our state. So then this is getting them to think, oh, let me just take a couple more each and then progress through there with the thinking, hey, we're professional coaches. Let's demonstrate that and put a little bit of time into our profession.
And that's a big point too, that idea of modeling behavior. We talked about sportsmanship, and it seems like our conversation went to our coaches, right? If it starts with them and the way that they model it, I think that maybe that helps to fill that gap a great deal. Everybody's going to look at them to see how they're supposed to respond. And if they're coming unhinged all the time, that definitely is not a good reflection. They're going to mirror that. I've seen that on sidelines, all the time.
I'd like to ask a question, Don, and maybe the gentleman from Santa Fe can answer this. The state of Tennessee requires any new coaches, they basically meet the requirements of level 1. They take the fundamentals of coaching, safety, first aid, and then sudden cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest, AED usage, heat illness, and sudden cardiac arrest. So they're required to take all that. But the additional cost, is there additional cost to become a level 2 or level 3 coach?
It has been a minute. Daryl, you're shaking your head. I think that's a yes, correct?
I think that's our biggest roadblock is we don't pay our coaches very well to begin with. So when we're asking them to come out of pocket to get those advanced certification, I think that's where we kind of struggle. And to be honest with you, it's the same thing with the NIAAA is when we're short of our outreach program that we do in the state of Tennessee. The cost of the course a lot of times is a deterrent to our coaches. So we're trying to figure that piece out as a district of how we can at least reimburse those coaches that seek these advanced certification either through the NIAAA or the NFHS. I'm willing to take any suggestions on that as well.
I see your lips moving there, Daryl, but I can't hear you. I know Bill said that they encourage it. They provide a small additional supplement for each level earned. That's one way to do it. Kind of tapping into that professional development fund rather than out of their pocket, if you can do that as well.
Looks like Daryl's typing back to us. James put something in there about Kentucky and ejections with sportsmanship.
Yeah, we have that as well here in Georgia, having to take that sportsmanship course.
Great ideas.
Gotcha. He's got sparks coming off his keyboard, so I'm gonna let him finish. Yeah, PD funds to choose one coaching group a year to get certified, for example, football 1 year, volleyball the next. That idea of breaking it up, using those PD funds to kind of do it, but you just kind of decide where you want to place them. I think that's good. Before we wrap up, kind of want to give you a preview. So for next month, our guest is going to be Nathan Whitaker on October 22nd. He's going to be the closing speaker in Tampa at the NADC. He's got a background in sports management. Has worked in various capacities within the sports industry and frequently speaks at events, sharing insight on leadership and character development. As a former NFL scout with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he won. He was on staff there with the Bucs when they won the Super Bowl. He has authored 8 New York Times best-selling books, most of which he has partnered with Hall of Fame NFL coach Tony Dungy. So Quiet Strength, Uncommon, Soul of a Team. If you know those books, all 3 of those are home runs and they're on my shelf. Those he wrote with Coach Dungy. So he is going to be our guest, maybe give you a little preview of that closing session there in Tampa. So by all means, looking forward to that. And him joining us. Again, like I told you the last time, me personally, never hesitate to reach out to me if I can help you in any way. I think we shared my email address last time at don.baker@cobb, COBBK12.org. And I'll help you in any way that I can. And I cannot resonate enough. We were speaking with Steve Throne just yesterday, and we were talking about that idea of the NIAAA, how open the NIAAA is from top to bottom. Everybody wants the same thing. They want our kids to be safe, and they want them to have a good, positive student-athlete experience. And so this is a wonderful organization, and there are great people on this call, and there's nothing that we can't do if we work together. And so I appreciate every one of you for taking the time today. I want to make sure to be respectful of your time. Hope you enjoyed Dr. Chan and what he was able to provide today. He is a home run every single time. And this will be on the YouTube page for you to view and use with your staff and use his words if you would like to. So again, thank you for everybody for attending, and we will see you next month.